Yes, my name is Joni Kujansuu from the University of Helsinki. We have now a new institute for atmospheric and Earth system research. It started from January this year. It's a combination of physics, chemistry, forestry coming together so that we are more than small shares to get a bigger picture inside the University of Helsinki. Yes, I'm a research coordinator for East Asia project that we have, and also I'm a CEO for Smear Limited, the company that is established by University of Helsinki, basically to provide services for environmental monitoring. So just shortly about what I have done. I did my master degree in Beijing Forest University, Beijing Linja Daxue, 97 to 2002, in Chinese at that time, and then in Japan my PhD, and I also ran a company in Japan for 5.5 years. But then because the kids came to school age, we decided to move back to Finland, and now I'm working more on the commercial side of University of Helsinki activities. And initially the invitation was for academician Professor Markku Kulmala, but unfortunately he is now in Beijing, he could not come here, so I will represent him today. Professor Kulmala is the first Finnish academician, let's say a professor that has received academician honors from Chinese Academy of Sciences. So he's the only Finnish researcher at the moment, and he has received it because of his contribution to atmospheric sciences and especially to air pollution phenomenon and chemical compositions of city air in China. But he is number one in geosciences and been since 2011, and I will a little bit explain from which kind of activities Professor Kulmala has received all of these honors. So what we are really interested about is to be able to understand what is happening between atmosphere, Earth surfaces and biosphere. And with these Earth surfaces we are meaning very broad scope. So it can be urban city environments, it can be boreal pine forest, it can be Cyprus Mediterranean island ecosystems. And what we really would like to understand in these different kind of ecosystems is what kind of feedback mechanisms there is happening, what kind of interactions between these atmosphere, biosphere, Earth surface is happening, what kind of processes there are, so that we can provide timely information for policymakers for mitigation or adaptation activities. And we have already been over 15 years being very multidisciplinary research infrastructure, and basically we have understood that if we want to provide useful information for policymakers, we have to include lots of different kind of expertise. Okay. Let's see if the battery might start to end, so let's see. So we are focusing on, okay, no more battery, maybe if I changed it. Good, better. So of course what we really are focusing on is the global warming, climate change, activities, and then to demography, population, and then for example air quality and freshwater issues. But we have seen that we have to do these kind of multidisciplinary activities and collaboration so that we can provide answers for the policymakers to make decisions. And we have of course, we are not doing this by ourselves. So we have a very good collaboration network going on, but we have formed different kind of scales in different kind of time spans, and the research activity that we are doing starts from these processes happening in seconds, in nanoscales, but then we go up to the global climate models to provide information for years to come in the future. And this has been a very successful concept. I do not say that it's a novel concept, but we have been very successful, and we are working together with Chinese and Russians, especially different institutes. And it's very important that we include satellites, satellite groups to these our activities, because with the satellite we can get very easily the context of wide geographical regions. But then what is our expertise is these in situ observations. We build stations, fixed stations, to understand very detailed processes that is going on in different ecosystems. But then these satellite research and in situ research have to basically implement to the models, so that we can get the as comprehensive state of the current situation for the policymakers as possible. And that's why where we are really focusing on is, of course, to have the biogenic, the natural ecosystems, together with anthropogenic influences, how these different environments are affecting to atmospheric chemistry, and then how this air mass transportation is affecting, for example, Arctic, and for us, especially boreal region pollution and ecosystem health and conditions. And this is where we are basically working at the moment with our activities. And this is basically, let's say in University of Helsinki, we understood that the Arctic research is in a very good situation. There is lots of very strong players, very good expertise. So when we were really thinking that where we could contribute to, we understood that it will be Eurasian, especially the Eurasian boreal zone. So this is where we are especially focusing. But now with China and with Silk Road, Economic Belt, Belt and Road activities, and this kind of China's interest to expand internationally, we have also included the Belt and Road, especially the northern route to our activities. And as in the morning was presented, yes, China is also taking more active role in the Arctic research. So it's good to also include this whole region. So Professor Kulmala published a Nature comment this year, January, about this global Earth observatory. So our vision is to have approximately 1,000 of the stations that I will explain in next slides in global scale. And we believe that with this kind of global Earth observatory network, then the researchers, yes, could find new mechanisms and feedback loops about the global situation. Policymakers could test their policies and see what kind of impacts they have, and then the companies also could develop different kind of environmental services. So we have tried to very actively go beyond the research community and also the private sector, as well as the government levels in local and global scale government activities. And if we take the Chinese Academy of Sciences, the Institute of Remote Sensing and Digital Earth, Yaogansuo, we have been working with them already approximately 6 years together. And after Professor Kulmala's nature comment, Professor Kuo Kuatung published his nature comment about this digital Silken Road. So satellite activities and remote sensing activities to provide big data in global scale. So as I showed in a previous slide, the satellite provides the content, and then our activity is easy to provide very detailed information. I will skip this one, so you are free to read this later if you like. But what we can really provide with this kind of continuous, comprehensive measurements, in situ measurements, are first of all trends, then processes, and then feedbacks. Trends, only if you have a continuous activities, you can have 20-25 years of data. Our measurements in Snare 2 station in southern Finland, it's the Natural Forest Ecosystem Station, started 1995. So we have 23 years of continuous data from this site. So we have found lots of different trends, what's happening here. And with this kind of 22 years of data, we can start to see processes that are happening inside these trends. And this also provides those feedbacks, how these different processes in this one ecosystem, how they interact with each other, and how the whole ecosystem is progressing. Basically, we can see what is happening from soil to forest and then to atmosphere, or from atmosphere, forest to soil directions, or from forest, soil to lakes or streams. So get these processes continuously for decades, the data. And for example, if we think about the atmospheric processes or these ecosystem processes, what we have really understood, for example, in this MERS 2 station, is how different kind of like nitrogen, carbon, sulfur, and water cycles, how they contribute to aerosol formation, the growth processes of particles that then will cause the cloud formation and precipitation, or depending on the environment, air quality, carbon dioxide increases, temperature increases, and how they again contribute to ecosystem processes. We get this cycle year by year, month by month, day by day. Okay. So this is the site with the forest, water, and then the soil. And this has, let's say that this has provided some really nice side. For example, the carbon fixation, the trends in this site has increased during the last 15 years. We have seen the processes, how the photosynthesis in different parts of the vegetation is changing, what is the respiration, and then we can see that in this site there is more carbon fixed to the ecosystem annually than 20 years ago. So there is a positive sink in Hytiälä. And then we get these biosphere-atmosphere feedback loops, increase of CO2, increase different volatile organic compounds that start to grow to the particles, that forms clouds, reduce temperatures, or then influence the radiation balance and then cross primary production. But it's a positive cycle in Hytiälä. And we are proposing to have a different classification of sites. SMER2 is flagship sites. But in Eurasia we are pushing advanced and basic sites. So not all the stations have to be the biggest and most comprehensive. But we need a station network that communicate with each other. And this is what we are pushing with Global SMER. And this is, for example, now we have in China 2 city, Beijing and Nanjing stations. In Finland we have 4 stations, Estonia 1, South Africa 1, and now in Cyprus we are building 1 station. And then Moscow State University, we will start to build 1 station in Moscow State University, and then with Aerocosmos we are, with academician Valery Bondur, we are also working together in Russia to get more stations there. So what this can provide is, this is the starting date of UTL, 1996, the SMER 2 station. We have now got 40, we have a total of 45 science and nature publications. You can see that more we have data, the more we get high impact papers. Also ERC, European Research Grants, it started after 12 years of data, we have got almost 1 every year. So this kind of comprehensive activities brings more possibilities. Okay, I will not go to the China activities more, but here it lives over half of the global population. So whatever happens here have a global influence. That's why we are focusing on China. So, but please, later I can talk more if you are interested. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joni.